Hi everybody, today we're going to be taking a look at 10 Easter eggs in Mafia Definitive Edition. From a dog head to a flying UFO, there are some pretty cool Easter eggs in this game. Some of them are actually 18 years old and they've just been revamped in this new edition of Mafia. If y'all enjoyed the video, well, I hope that I can earn your thumbs up and your subscription. We got a lot more secrets, Easter eggs, and other things like that to cover on the channel regarding Mafia, so stay tuned for that. Number 11, bonus one here. I just wanted to throw this in that Joe Barbaro in Mafia Definitive Edition seems to have been revamped. He looks more like Joe in Mafia 3, which was never confirmed. It was a mystery left up to fans to decide. But if you take a look at Joe in Mafia Definitive Edition and compare him to Mafia 3, you could see that, well, they look very, very similar. Number 10, the Jumper. This is actually a remastered Easter egg from the very first Mafia with a little bit more detail added in. In one of the very first missions where we are returning a race car to the racetrack, we could see on the bridge a man about to jump. We can also find a note on the ground. The note reads, "They say that when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Life gave me syphilis." So, the developers made this Easter egg really funny, but we could see a crowd gathered around and ultimately watch this man's fate unfold. Number 9, we can find a clown that is not what it looks like. So, in another one of the very first missions in the game, while looking for a manager's office, we can find in another room a man with some blue and red lights strapped into a chair dressed as a clown. Very odd set of events going on here. Reminds me of an episode of SpongeBob where they take this house off of the foundation and there's a dude inside with a lollipop on a bike, and he says the same thing, that is, it's not what it looks like. I can explain. But yeah, we've gotten a very, very weird clown in this room here. Number 8, a reference to Hangar 13, who actually developed Mafia Definitive Edition. So we can actually find on the race car in what I think is one of the hardest video game missions in 2020 if you're not on easy mode, the number 13, and I believe that this is just a reference to Hangar 13. There are tons of references to Hangar 13 and the number 13 all around the map, so seems very fitting that we have this on our race car to represent the creators of the game, which we'll expand on a little bit later on in the video with some more Easter eggs. Number 7, the alien UFO. That's right, so this is super cool, super Twilight Zone feeling, but in the free ride option where you can play in free roam, there are around 10 secret missions. There may be 12, but one of those is actually being invaded by aliens. Now, to first trigger this, you must actually enable the free ride missions, which you can find tutorials on YouTube. I'll actually leave a link to one in the description. But once you do that, go upstairs at Salieri's bar to Don Salieri's office. You'll find on a table as you walk in a letter from a friend that says, "Dear friend, we are being invaded. Head to the Works Quarter trolley station for a briefing. Come at night, trust no one, and watch the skies. Herbert Baskerville." Now, if you go to this location that I have here on the screen, you'll go inside a telephone booth, and upon doing so, you will trigger a mission where you have to follow a UFO around. It's very time-sensitive, very rage-inducing, and there is no checkpoints. So you were probably going to play this a few times, 5 to 6 times, before you can actually get through and beat it. But upon following the UFO, stopping them from abducting different humans, you're going to be led to a lighthouse where you're going to have to fight off a bunch of dudes in suits with alien heads. And after you do that and you destroy the UFO, well, you actually unlock a Men in Black suit. Very similar to that. Seems like a big reference to Men in Black, where you also kind of get your mind wiped out and you teleport to a different location. So overall, this is a really, really cool Easter egg. Definitely my favorite one in the game with just this secret mission. Also, I've heard other people say this is a reference to some of the free ride missions from the original Mafia, where very time sensitive, checkpoints very hard, and you're just rushing through the city. Number 6, some creepy dolls inside the prison. So, in one of the video game missions where you actually go into the prison, there are 2 different dolls you can find. And what's very interesting is that when you kind of interact with them or destroy them, you're going to hear a creepy little girl laughing in the background like you're playing some Black Ops Zombies and the dogs are about to come out. But yeah, overall, very creepy to be in a 1930s prison and also hear a little girl laughing. Number 5, the Titanic. So this is actually the same location as the UFO, but near the lighthouse, you could see way off in the distance a ship. Now, the reason that I am actually including this in the video and calling it a Titanic Easter egg is because this actually goes back to Mafia 2, where the same ship appears way off in the horizon, and way back in the day, and even to this day, this is still a very debatable Easter egg on whether or not this is Titanic, because obviously Titanic sunk in 1912, Mafia Definitive Edition is taking place between 1930 and 1938, Mafia 2 is in the late 40s to early 50s, so how could that be Titanic? Well, it's simply just an Easter egg, like the UFOs. That's why I am throwing this in there and considering this an Easter egg of the Titanic. Number 5, the Man Dog outfit. That's what I call this one. This is actually unlocked in the final mission for Herbert Baskerville. And this in and of itself is a reference to the original Mafia, where you could see pedestrians walking around with a dog head, or you could also pick up a dog head and use it as a melee weapon. So anyways, after you complete all the free ride missions, the very last one will actually unlock you this suit with a dog head. Like I said, Man Dog. So very, very cool there. Reference to not only the first Mafia, but also what's cooler than walking around dressed as a gangster dog. Number 3, at Salieri's bar, we can find upstairs in a room on a board a picture of a map. And this is actually the original map from from the original Mafia, because in Mafia Definitive Edition, they actually changed the map up a little bit. So what we're looking at here is, I want to keep saying beta map, but it's not the beta map, but it's the original Lost Heaven map from 2002. Number 2, wanted posters. So we can find all around the map, scattered throughout various locations, different wanted posters. And on these posters is actually developers of Mafia Definitive Edition. This is really cool. This is something we also seen in Mafia 2, where you could find different references or paintings of the developers in one of the missions. And then in Mafia 2 Definitive Edition, they added in over 189 wanted posters. So it's cool that when you come across these, what you're looking at is the developers of the game you're playing. And lastly, we've got the sewer rat Easter egg. So in the sewers, when going into the prison, you can actually find in a tunnel by himself a tramp or a hobo or a homeless dude living down there who's asking if you've seen his pet rat. This just made me think of Grand Theft Auto 4 and the Rat Man mystery, but in the sewers, which are creepy in and of himself, we can find a man looking for his rat. Anyways, those are 10 Easter eggs in Mafia Definitive Edition. Some new, some old, some revamped. Either way, I hope you learned something new and found this video enjoyable. If so, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing, turn on notifications, because we've got some Mafia Definitive Edition secret vehicles to cover, locations, and much, much more.